Hello and welcome to Ukraine Today. I'm Vladimir Solohub. Right now we're in Odessa, where more than 5 months ago a new chief of Odessa Regional Customs was appointed. And right now, joining me now, the unprecedentedly young chief of notoriously corrupt Odessa Regional Customs, Ms. Yulia Marushevska, is joining us to talk about the main challenges she's facing at her work. Ms. Marushevska, welcome to Ukraine Today.
Hello, I'm happy to be here.
Many thanks again for finding the time to come and talk to us. So, Ms. Marushevska, more than 5 months ago, you were appointed as Chief of Odessa Regional Customs. And the customs service in Ukraine has always been infamous for being highly corrupt. And one of the tasks you were vested with was to fight corruption in this area. And when you were appointed, there was a lot of criticism and a lot of skeptics about how you will be able to cope with that task, given your young age and lack of experience in the customs business. So now looking back at the 5 months of your work, how are you doing?
If we'll speak about Ukrainian customs in general and the level of corruption, in people's perception, it is one of the most corrupt area institution that we have in Ukraine at all. And when I came here, it was one of my goals to eliminate corruption. And actually it was not the hardest one, because the goal I was pointing to myself and the whole team, the goal where we were moving was creating of a new service in the customs, creating an Ukrainian customs as a really service organization. Because now the difference is in the attitude and in the procedures. Like now we have a customs completely crazy about control, not the security, but the control. Like I'm completely about security. I think that service and security are the most important things in the customs. But here it was about control and no trust to business. And our goal was to change this focus to trust and simplification of procedures, and to creating a normal business, equal climate to everyone who is coming to work to Ukraine.
But to do that, you need to change the laws.
Yeah.
And for that, you need the support of the parliament.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you have the support of the parliament in your endeavors?
We've done first steps on this long road. And now we have quite good results. The time of clearance in Odessa customs is 4 times faster than it was before. The corruption is dramatically eliminated, because we understood that corruption is very often vertical at these institutions. And when you say, when you have a political will to overcome it, it happens. Like in half a year, almost half a year, when I'm here as a chief of customs, in Odessa, the situation changed a lot, and I think you can talk to business and you will hear that there is no bribing in this huge scale as it was before. Of course, we're just on our way, and it might be some small issues, but we are fighting with these small issues also.
How did you achieve that? How? Because we've just discussed that to change the procedures dramatically, you need to change the laws. You said that you made the first step. You said that you simplified the procedure. How did it work? How did it happen?
Okay, let's go this way. The question of corruption is the question of a political will. And second, it's a question of salaries. We have a ridiculously small salaries on a customs. It's about like $70 US. But
so, did you raise the salaries?
Right now, no. But it's in our project, next steps. But we had a political will, and we changed the people at the middle level, and I think it helped a lot, because we fired some, we are hiring new one, and it was helpful. About simplification of the procedures. Yes, we cannot do it through the general legislation from the level of the whole country, unfortunately. We were promised to have this opportunity, but right now, because of a political situation, because of all this, negotiations, no understanding of who will be the next prime minister.
Basically political crisis.
Yeah, all this mess at the parliament when people do not vote for anything and not interested in the real things right now. It's more about politics now than about doing something on the ground. This is why we did everything we could do on the regional level. For example, we were...
Tell me, how did you do that?
Through the orders to our officers, through the creating some rules, because the system worked very unpredictable here, and the business who were coming never knew what to expect. Like first steps that we done, for example, were creating a low-risk country list, creating a low-risk company list. We through monitoring of the history of the company, through seeing its the way it is legislated. For example, if it's an international company with a good reputation, and we can monitor that. If it's a public company, if we can trust this company, then I ask my officers to be as supportive as possible, and to not in a million, but through to do as fast as possible all the existing procedures. Right now, we didn't change the global procedures. My main goal is to create new customs here with really existing one-stop shop on the border, one face on the border. This one window concept, really to make it happen, because today we have all these different control agencies on border who are doing their job separately very often, and it can be a problem. But now through negotiations, through MOU on the regional level, for example, the next step which we've done after this, after the creating of this lists of low-risk companies, then we signed the memorandum of understanding with all enforcement agencies of the region about cooperation on the customs. We asked them not to terrorize business in Odessa customs, if to say directly, because before that we had a huge problem when each enforcement agency could come to the customs and stop business, physically inspect it without any ground under that, any cause, and we stopped that very fast. Like it was like first month when we came, and right now the number of physical inspections of goods done by other agencies on Odessa customs was eliminated 10 times.
Ms. Maruszewska, what is the reaction to your drastic reforms, to your drastic changes within your own office? Because you just said that in any government agency, the main people are the so-called mid-level employees. Mm-hmm. These are the ones who decide things. Of course, there are people on top who sign. There are people on the very bottom who do the things manual. But the mid-level management is very important, as in any organization. And you just said that you put them in a very strict frames. Mm-hmm. You change the rules completely. But you did not increase the salary. Mm-hmm. But let's be frank, these people were living out of the bribes. Mm-hmm. So how do they treat all these changes which you're introducing? Do you see sabotage?
You see, that's a multi-level process. A lot of them went from Odessa customs to other customs. We have a practice when I see that some businesses who used to work in a corruption environment, they just changed the customs. They went to do the custom clearance to Kyiv or somewhere to the western borders from Odessa. And those customs officers who were working with them, they go to that customs also, like completely client-oriented service,
Well, so it was the client-oriented service already. You didn't have to change much.
Yeah, in some way it was. And this is one level. Another level is that we are not forcing people. If you don't want to work like that, you don't have to. You're always free to go. But our position is zero tolerance to corruption. as soon as I see or know or figure out that somewhere something is happening, these people are being punished any way I can, with bureaucratic procedures, even with firing. Like everything I can do to punish this corruption moments, we're just doing very strict at this case. But we still have a problem with the middle level. We still have this resistance because the first perception was that, hey, they are like children, came here to, that's a playground for them, they don't understand, we are an experienced one, I have 22 years of experience, and we'll manage them. We'll wait for a few months and they will go, or we'll do something.
Figure out other ways.
Yeah, we'll figure out the ways. But the situation is that today I am the chief who spent actually 6 months here, and it's more than any other person in last 3 years here. Last 3 years they have 15 chiefs of Odessa customs. Like people were like, no one spent here more than 3 months. And after spending like 5 even more months here, I understood that the perception is dramatically changed right now.
They realize that you're not going away.
They realize that I'm not going anyway. We are determined to do the project, to open the new customs clearance zone, to simplify the procedure, to eliminate the corruption. And now some of them started to believe in us and to trust what we are doing. They really believe that one day we will make a normal salaries. And for me, it's just a question of time, because I understand that if we are speaking that we are developing the country, if we are really creating a country that develops, we will come to the point where the procedures will be simplified. We will come to the point where the salary of the governmental officials will be normal, like not $70, because salary of $70 is a legitimated corruption. Like it's just a right to be corrupt. It's very bad practice.
Yeah, it's all over across all government agencies in Ukraine. Ms. Mashevska, to implement some of these reforms, you need the support, both institutional but also legal support from the higher up officials, basically from your boss, from the chief of customs service of the entire Ukraine. And your relations with Mr. Nasirov are tense, to say the least. How do you work around that, understanding that in most cases Mr. Nasirov is not supporting, is not willing to support you as the chief of Odessa Regional Customs, but at the same time he cannot say it publicly? And just recently there was a Kyiv Post article which titled you as one of the most reformist government officials, whereas your boss, your direct boss, they said that he's the one who is one of the worst halters of the reforms. So can you tell us a bit about your relations with your boss?
Our relations must be professional, and I've tried to have a completely professional relations and to communicate all the needs that we have here in Odessa. The thing is that I was appointed actually by the president together with the governor of the Odessa region, and at the beginning we had a normal cooperation and normal communication. Maybe because they didn't believe that we can achieve something. I don't know why, but after like last time, after all this political tensions between the governor and the prime minister, like the situation changed dramatically, and it's really hard now for me to appoint the people, to hire, to fire, to do all the steps. You know, we are a very centralized country, and for example, my deputy is being appointed by the Mr. Nasirov, the head of the checkpoints of the crossing points on the borders. They are appointed by the Nasirov. Nevertheless, that I have to manage these people, and it's quite hard to do even everyday work. And I feel the lack of this cooperation right now, and I really need it to succeed. But on the other hand, it's not going to stop me even if I don't have this cooperation.
So how do you work around that? How do you work with people who are supposed to be your deputies but are appointed by your boss?
We had two of them, and one miss, she was caught at the moment of like bribing, like not exactly. I don't want to just to tell the story wrong, but it was some problem with the corruption. And the second person also was just. We had a documentary. We had documents that proved that he was guilty in some manipulations, and I just gathered all these documents and sent him a letter that I need to fire these people, and now I'm just not working with them. That's all what I can do, and I hope that he will fire. The first girl was moved somewhere to other customs, and the second guy he's not. I think I asked just to not to give him possibility to work, and we are not working.
What are your main plans for the nearest future in terms of reforming the regional customs, in terms of fighting the corruption? What are your plans?
My plans didn't change. I came here with main goal to create the customs as a service organization. Actually, if I can stand up, I'll show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the concept is to open the new customs clearance zone in the center of Odessa. It's the territory of Odessa port, and this customs clearance zone will be working with a completely new approach. It will be an open office. We'll change a software. It will be just a modern customs with a normal attitude and with a completely separated processes. Like we'll separate front and back office. We'll create an electronic queue. Like everything will be as automatized as much as possible to eliminate any possibility for corruption. This is like goal number one. And now I hope that with the cooperation of the US Embassy here, we'll create also a security mobile group here in Odessa, and we'll develop like one more important sector, like for me, service and security. That's two main areas which are important in Ukrainian customs.
Do you see your personal future here in Odessa?
It depends. I'm not, I understand that I'm not the person that will spend like the whole life in customs, but I'm more project oriented. I want to create a real change, to provide the real result. That's my main goal. But I cannot tell you what will be like in half a year, in a year. I have no idea where it goes. I just know that now I have this goal.
How concerned are you about the current political crisis in Ukraine?
It creates problems for me here in Odessa, trying to implement this transparent office. But as a citizen, I'm of course disappointed. As a person who participated in Maidan, I am very disappointed, Of course, I want everything to happen completely different. I want honest people working for a national interest. That's what I'm dreaming about. I want us to succeed as a country, and all this bargaining in parliament, it's just, for me, it's humiliating as for citizens. It's not what I am expecting from the officials, from the MPs that was chosen by the Ukrainian people.
Yeah, it looks like this is the sentiment which is shared by a lot of Ukrainians. Ms. Marushevska, many thanks for finding the time to talk to us. We were discussing the main challenges at Odessa Regional Customs Office with the chief of Odessa Regional Customs Office, Ms. Yulia Marushevska. I'm Volodymyr Solhub. Thank you for watching Ukraine Today.